Because I have been designing bicycles for almost 30 or 35 years, maybe 40 years, I decided to come up with a new kind of bicycle before the pandemic for the world's end, because I truly believe that we are going to screw ourselves so bad that we won't be able to do anything. We are consuming our fossil fuels at an alarming rate, and even after I spoke to Al Gore in almost 15 years ago, this man really knew what the hell's going on, and I asked him what I could do that would be useful for the future. And he told me to transport goods in a way that does not consume fossil fuels, because eventually we will run out and we will be screwed, basically. So I wanted to buy a solar bicycle so that I wouldn't have to reinvent it or redesign it, but unfortunately almost everything in Europe is a piece of garbage, period. I actually don't understand why that is. I mean, there are some smart people running around here. I can't be the only one, but it just seems that way because every time I build something, everybody is extremely interested in what I have. I went to the bicycle show in Verona in Italy just before the pandemic started and realized that when I took my bicycle down there, I went to buy a ticket to go into the show, and I must have been in there for not more than 20 minutes waiting in line for a stupid ticket until when I came outside I couldn't even find my bicycle because there were so many people standing around it, wanting it. Now, when I went back to my bicycle to make sure, what was going on there, and I saw all these people, I must have stood there for 2.5 hours answering questions. So, I have come up with something that's truly unique and fantastic, but now what I have to do is I have to make it better. The rear end of this bike I bought at another place, and the front end I had to redesign because it was such a piece of garbage, this system. I wanted a fully suspended recumbent bike. Now, I've designed these things in the past before, and I can show you these other bicycles, and maybe you can create a drawing or something like that for that. This is just showing how it might work. I'm not even sure that this is the best system, but I don't like this because it actually doesn't absorb the shock from the road. It looks good, but it's completely useless, so maybe you can come up with a better design for the front. I'm just showing you in detail. The other thing is I'm not even sure a chain is such a good idea. I think a hydraulic drive or a direct drive with no chain is much better, just like motorcycles have. I mean, I've designed a bicycle with direct drive 25 years ago, and I haven't seen one in Europe, and I don't know why. Now, the switching of gears would be a problem, but not if you have a direct drive from the front all the way down here to the back before the suspension, and then have a chain going from the back to the sprocket at the back, having a much smaller chain, which is much stronger and doesn't stretch like this massive chain underneath here. So there, my system isn't entirely perfect. I also had to make it folding to fit into the back of a motorhome because I want to be able to sell this not just to people who have homes, but people who have motorhomes as well. So in the shop we redesigned all kinds of other stuff, and this was to make the folding solar panel roof. Now, this was also the new trailer which I created to pull behind the bicycle with its own trailer hitch and a smart connection to the bicycle. In other words, this has its own battery system in it with its USB ports here at the side and at the other side, so that you can actually put your computer somewhere, not on the solar panels, of course, because that will greatly reduce the amount of power. I wanted to have something flip up from the side, flip up from the front, flip up from the other side, maybe even in the back, to make it a larger area where you can actually eat something or put your laptop on it and you can sit there and work while the system. So this has to be fixed. There are a few things that have to be changed. This is when it almost was finished. This is with the folding roof. I decided to use it as a place to eat, and it's the perfect height. And so there are improvements. For example, when you lift this, obviously it has to take into account the tire. So you would have this thing, this cutout here, which is fine because, you know, a person can sit there, a person can sit here and eat around this thing. So anyway, it also tilts up on an angle. I don't know if I have pictures of that, but I just wanted to show you this thing so that you've seen it from every angle. The other thing is that this device here, it actually slides out through the front. I have an actual chair there, so somebody can sit there with a camera and film things as we're driving through the countryside. The shock absorbing system in the back is actually excellent, but the one in the front is terrible. This can actually pull almost 100 kilograms of weight. It's a very efficient trailer, which I designed, which is also light. This actually fits in the back of this garage. It's hard to believe, but it does. But I'm designing a trailer now that I don't have to keep taking it apart and putting it together. It's going to store the whole thing in one. So I need a drawing of this. None of that, none of my friends. Okay, the trailer and the bicycle.